Usually when you think about upgrading a room with a, massive 119-inch home theater display, you picture this giant, bulky monolith. It just dominates the space, like a literal black hole on your wall.
Yeah, that is the classic home theater dilemma right there. Trying to make a 10-foot rectangle look subtle. I mean, you want that immersive cinematic experience, but you definitely don't want to ruin the room's aesthetic.
Exactly. So today we are diving into the specs for the Draper Profile Plus screen to find out how the pros managed to hide a massive display in plain sight and actually let the sound pass right through it. Welcome to our deep dive. Okay, let's unpack this.
So we are looking at a 119-inch diagonal screen in a classic 16 by 9 format.
Yeah.
But the physical footprint is really what shifts the paradigm here. This screen sits less than 2 inches deep off the wall.
Wait, listen, 2 inches? That isn't incredibly thin.
Yeah, it's practically flush.
And it features this zero-edge borderless option, right? It is essentially like having an infinity pool for your living room wall. You get all that immersive picture without the distraction of a thick traditional frame pulling your eye away.
Right, and the specs also highlight a mullion-less design. So if you were building out a massive setup, maybe a corporate training room, and you want to put multiple screens side by side, they sit adjacent with zero separation.
Oh, wow. So just one continuous wall of screen.
Exactly. It creates an optically seamless framing system.
Well, we have established how stunning this looks as a piece of minimalist design, but here is the massive 104-inch wide elephant in the room. How does a solid wall of screen affect the audio?
That is the big question, yeah.
Because, you can't exactly put giant speakers in front of a sleek borderless display without completely ruining the whole effect.
You really can't. And that brings us to the actual material here, the ClearSound NanoPerf XT1000V projection surface. Now, ClearSound is the operative word because the material is acoustically transparent.
Right.
What's fascinating here is the psychoacoustics at play. In true cinematic setups, the speakers are actually placed directly behind the screen.
Right, so the sound actually matches the picture.
Exactly. If you see an actor speaking, but your brain registers the audio coming from a speaker off to the left somewhere, your immersion is subtly broken. The NanoPerf material allows the dialogue to come literally from the actor's mouth.
But wait, if the screen is essentially full of, microscopic holes to let all that sound through, doesn't that compromise the visual punch? You are literally losing surface area for the projector's light to hit.
You would think so, but the engineering accounts for that optical illusion. The material maintains a 1.0 gain with a really clean white surface.
Okay, so it still pops.
Yeah, because the perforations are so microscopic, once you sit at a normal viewing distance, your eye naturally blends the image together. It just, ignores the holes entirely.
Now that makes sense. So it bounces the light back perfectly evenly to fully preserve a crisp 1080p resolution.
Right, you get the acoustic transparency without sacrificing the visual integrity.
That is brilliant. And speaking of practical brilliance for you, the listener, there's the shipping aspect. If you have ever tried to pivot a couch up a narrow stairwell, just imagine trying to do that with a rigid 10-foot piece of metal.
Oh, absolutely impossible.
Right. That is why the ship's completely unassembled. It uses this clever sliding hook and loop system to attach the viewing surface to a much lighter frame right on site.
Yeah, it makes maneuvering around tight corners and getting it to the actual installation site completely manageable. But achieving this level of seamless audio and visual integration, well, it does come with some serious caveats in the fine print.
Yeah, what is the catch? Because a bespoke screen this specialized definitely does not come cheap.
No, it does not. The current discounted price from HDTVSupply sits at $3,438.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and because these screens are precision cut to order, you're buying a highly customized piece of hardware. The vendor terms are strictly non-cancelable, non-returnable, and non-refundable.
So literally zero buyer's remorse allowed. Once you click buy, you are entirely committed.
Exactly. This raises an important question for anyone eyeing this tier of equipment. Are your measurements absolutely flawless?
You really have to double-check everything.
You must measure twice, maybe 3 times, honestly, and plan your room layout perfectly before making this kind of high-stakes AV investment.
So what does this all mean for you? Ultimately, this Draper screen represents the pinnacle of merging minimalist aesthetics with professional-grade acoustic functionality, provided, you are ready to commit to the installation.
Right. It is the exact opposite of that bulky, dominating monolith we talked about at the start. It allows the technology to essentially just get out of its own way, letting you just experience the media.
Which leaves us with a lingering thought for you to mull over. With residential technology now seamlessly replicating and perhaps even improving upon the acoustic and visual perfection of the cinema right in your living room, will commercial movie theaters soon become obsolete for the average viewer? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.